And the Lord of the Evening shall face the broken champion, and shall spill his blood and bring us the darkness so beautiful. Let the screams begin, all followers of the shadow, beg for your destruction. Dark One, Father of Lies, Great Lord of the Dark, are but a few of the names used when referring to Shaitan, the essence of evil and primary villain in the world of the Wheel of Time. People are afraid to speak his true name as they believe that using it may bring misfortune to the speaker. At the moment of creation, he was born and was imprisoned on a separate dimension outside of the pattern. He is to break free and seek the complete destruction of the Wheel of Time in order to take control of the world and remake it according to his image. He is described to be somehow both infinity and empty, and his power is beyond measure. The true power is the name of the source of energy that the Dark One uses. It is similar to the one power that comes from the Creator, but the true power finds its source in the Dark One rather than the Creator, and is available to both male and female channelers, unlike the One Power, although it cannot be accessed without his blessing. During the Second Age of the world, also known as the Age of Legends, an age of peace and great technological marvels, a group of Aes Sedai researchers sensed the true power in a region of the pattern. They were intrigued by this new source of energy because, unlike the one power, this new source was available to both males and females alike. In order to access this new power, a hole in the pattern was made. The Aes Sedai did not know that they had bored a hole into the Dark One's prison. The hole did not free the Dark One, but it allowed him to have a bigger influence in the world. What followed was a 100-year period of time where the Dark One's influence grew over the world and marked the beginning of the end to the golden age of the world, known as the Age of Legends. During the Age of Legends, the world was free of crimes and war, but as the Dark One's influence grew larger, society began to deteriorate, and evil practices became more prevalent. Over time, more and more people joined the Dark One, and he started to assemble great armies, and thus the War of Power began. At first, the forces of the Dark One, referred to as the Shadow, advanced rapidly through the forces of the light and destroyed what remained of society. This was due to the fact that during the Age of Legends, humanity was not used to combat, and thus did not know how to fight a war. This became even worse when 13 of the most powerful Aes Sedai betrayed the light and sided with the shadow. These individuals became known as the Forsaken. The Forsaken applied their skills to aid the shadow and took command of the armies, and even created terrible creatures like Trollocs and Murdrol, and many other terrible beings. Eventually, command of the forces of the light was given to Louis Theron Telemon, who would later be known as the Dragon. This marked a turning point in the war as the forces of the light began to push back the shadow, and they started retaking lost ground. But this was not to last, as the light suffered even more betrayals and its armies began to break. It became clear that a final plan was needed in order to end the war quickly. Louis Darren Telemann proposed a plan to travel to Shao Gu, the place where the Dark One existed, and reseal the Dark One's prison. Louis Darren gathered 1,000 soldiers and around 100 male Aes Sedai, known as the 100 Companions, and traveled to Shao Gu to attempt his dangerous plan. During the battle, all of the 1,000 soldiers and the majority of the Aes Sedai were killed, but Louis Darren Telemann, the Dragon, was successful, and the Dark One's prison was resealed, trapping all of the 13 Forsaken and the Dark One in his prison. This victory had major consequences in the world, one of these being the Dark One's final stroke, as it placed the taint inside the male half of the One Power, driving Louis Darren and the remaining male Aes Sedai completely insane, destroying and killing everything on their path without any remorse or control. This period of time became known as the breaking of the world or the time of madness. Much of the world was destroyed and reshaped. It also marked the end of the Age of Legends and the beginning of the Third Age.